Well, Hola Hossa, how are ya? You can leave me here in the sun, so I'll be cross-eyed the rest of the day. Wait, I ain't used to that sun. Man, that's pretty good right here. Good morning, afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Leroy Weed. I was born and raised in this town. I grew up in the fishing industry and have spent years perfecting it, you might say, learning how to make a living from what is available to us in this area. I'm here to answer any and all of your questions. I will try to help you understand how it works, and we will do our best to answer it for you.
I think we're ready to go here.
Okay.
Hi, this is Patty from Penobscot. I'd like to know, how do you know where to put the traps? How do you know where the lobsters are? Thank you.
Good question, Patty. We always don't know where to put them. Lobsters like rocky bottom because when they come in from offshore, they hide under the rocks because they molt once a year. So if you fish around those rock piles, chances are you will catch one. However, that's not always the case because they do have legs and they do crawl around. They crawl on the mud, they crawl in the kelps. When the tides are running, they go for the deeper water off of the shallow water. So it's understanding the lobster's habit which helps you trap them. I fished for 68 years, and over the years I learned a lot from starting in a rowboat and sounding the bottom with a piece of lead. You learned where the rocks was, and once you learn where they are, you never forget it. It's like riding a bicycle. You can go to that spot, but it doesn't always mean that every year they're going to be in that same spot. They do move, and the temperature of the water, the conditions of the sea, the depth of the water, it's all connected. So they chase their food. We put food in the traps, but it might not be what they want. Herring worked for years and years. In the last few years, herring hasn't worked as good as what we call hard bait, the redfish, the haddock racks, and that kind of bait. It stays on longer, and lobsters seem to like it. So you never really know. And a certain time of year, this time from here till September, most of the lobsters are in the shallow water, what we call shallow water, in around the islands, the ledges, places like that. And then in the fall, once they've shed and they built their meat back up inside of them, or their fat, then they tend to migrate back off. So you learn over the years. Some people never learn. They just are shadows. We call them shadows. They'll follow you around. They don't know why. They just think that because you've done it for years, you know where everything is. So I've set traps right up on top of a ledge and go there the next day, and there'd be 4 or 5 right up on top with me. so they're not thinking. They're just following. But after a while, they figure it out. But most generally, a lot of the information people keep to themselves. It's not something that is publicized a lot as far as a fisherman. You ask the fisherman, he might come in with 1,500 pounds and say, "How'd you do today?" "Well, I say good for you. Probably the best day he's had all summer." So they don't divulge where they're fishing or what they catch in that area. So it's you figure it out. So I hope that answers your question.
Hi, Leroy. My name is Michelle, and I'm from the town of Penobscot. And I'm wondering if it's true that back in the day, people used to bury their lobster shells so that their neighbors wouldn't know they were so poor that they had to eat lobster. Thank you.
Well, my dad was born in the late 1800s. And he used to tell us that when they planted their garden in the spring, they would go down to the beach or the shore and pull the seaweed back and pick up the lobsters that was on the beach. That's how plentiful they were. They would take them home, smash them up, and use them for fertilizer. Nobody ate them. I guess they thought at that time they really weren't fit to eat, because the Thomaston prison in Thomaston, Maine, used to feed them to the prisoners over there 3 times a week for punishment food. So I think probably there's still some guys over there hoping they'll renew that program. I'm not sure. But it was considered a poor man's food. It really was. Now, whether they buried the shells or not is anybody's guess, but probably did, no doubt. Yeah, that answers that question, I guess. You all done recording? You're done, he says. To ask your questions is 224-58 Leroy. I'll put my mushroom hat on, my apron. Today we're going to have a session of cooking a lobster. You don't have to shoot him.